Hey metalheads, welcome to a spooky Halloween edition of Metal Academics. What's the band we're hearing?
Burning Witches.
Burning Witches. Never heard of them? Don't know anything about them.
Well, I think, first of all, could not pick a better band for the Halloween episode than Burning Witches, not only because of the name, but because of their entire concept. Burning Witches is a new band, so no wonder you haven't heard of them because they just started in 2015.
Okay.
They are from Switzerland, from a city called Brugg. And most interestingly, they are an all-female metal band. So
I could guess that from the name.
So this is very exciting because there are not so many of these bands around. And I think it's going to be very cool to dig into their discography. They have been quite productive, even though starting 2015, they already have 3 releases out there. So I think what we're going to do is just go chronologically and start with the very first album from 2017 and with the very first song on that first album, which is called Black Widow.
Okay.
I think we should just dive straight into and then we'll talk afterwards.
Yes, I love the opening song of albums.
Yeah. Very much a first of firsts. Black Widow, Burning Witches.
Cool. Cool. A lot of estrogen.
Yeah, a lot of power, a lot of speed, guitars, two lead guitars.
Good opening scream.
Good opening scream. It has all the elements. What did it remind you of if you were to, like, first contact, first hear?
Frozen Crown.
Frozen Crown.
From the video.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in terms of the music, but the video.
The style.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
black leather. They also had one of their videos from Frozen Crown had them out in the woods, so it kind of reminded me of that. But sound-wise, I'm not sure.
Think of them as coming from the German part of Switzerland. I think to me, they remind me quite a lot of Primal Fear. Many other people have obviously referred to the big ones in the German tradition, except you would hear, and maybe also some Judas, and they have actually collaborated a little bit with Rob Halford in one song. So their referencing is quite clear. But in my ears, Primal Fear is the primary musical reference.
Yeah, good shredding.
Yes, very good. And I think this is exactly what they offer on all the albums so far. Classic, Teutonic, as they sometimes call it, speed, heavy, power metal with this witchy theme, which I think is also quite funny because they are really living it, which I think it's cool. Like they dress like it, walk like it, and they film their videos like it. So, and they're very productive. As I said, they released an album every year since their debut, which was also entitled Burning Witches as the band. The second album was called Hexenhammer, and that's the name, Hexenhammer, and that's the name also of their best song in terms of number of views, number of downloads, and so on from their career so far. And obviously this is going to be also the one that we're going to listen to. And it's really inspired by these medieval thinking about witches and their magical power. And a little bit of background story, the band was formed by Ramona, the lead guitarist, who basically was kind of intent to create an all-female band. So it's not by random, but it was on purpose that she recruited over the years selected crew. They had auditions. They had also met at festivals. They met at music school. And her purpose was to create this all-female heavy metalers. And I think she succeeded quite nicely so far. And also they stand out because there are not so many other bands of their caliber. The only two other bands that I know are, of course, Love Bites from Japan. And yes, I do remember that you guys asked for a lot of Love Bites. They're definitely in the works. And I think there's even a Swedish band that is called Hysterica. That I know of, and maybe I've seen one or two videos, but don't know so very much about.
Also,
do you know any?
Yeah, I think there's one called Bandmade, which is another Japanese, I think.
Bandmade.
All-female band.
Okay. No, I don't know that one so much. Maybe I've seen the name as it has been maybe suggested by some of you. But altogether, they're not really like huge amounts. There are many more now of female leads, as I think we featured a couple, and we even have a playlist with this. But in terms of all band members being female, not so many. So this is, I think, something that's special about the sound of the presentation of the band, but it doesn't reflect in the sound. That's what I want to say. If you close your eyes, you don't know if these are all girls or all guys. I think they rock just as hard. So let's listen to their most famous song so far, Hexenhammer from the same named album.
Hexenhammer. I thought it was Hex and Hammer.
No,
Hexenhammer.
Hexen, like in Swedish, Hex is like witch in German. So that's the reference. It's all about witches throughout their album names. So Hexenhammer. It's a little bit longer song, this one, just to be prepared. to the dead. What better Halloween song themes, right? Better, best. So that's Hexenhammer. I really love this song. I actually like all of them. Since I decided that I'm going to feature this band, I've put it on repeat, and it was so difficult to pick songs because I really got into all of them. So it was really nice.
Do they have? I like more screams. Like she did there at the end. Like it's I mean, definitely heavy guitars, so maybe they kind of stick to the lower tones, but
she can definitely scream. She screams all right. It's kind of spooky screams too. I thought it was very, very witchy. Very witchy of her. However, maybe you will be disappointed or maybe you'll be excited, but there's a change in the most recent release, which is of this year, Dance with the Devil. The main singer, whose name is Serena, I want to say correctly, she departed for personal reasons.
If it was Sabrina, the teenage witch, that'd be perfect.
It's Serena. It's spelled in some odd way, but I think it's pronounced like this. She departed and she's replaced by a new singer whose name is Laura. And she brought her own voice and her own ideas into the band. She's also the new text author. So Laura is bringing a new touch to the latest album.
That's interesting. I'm curious because
Did you like Serena's so far?
Good screams.
Good screams.
But I would, if I had to, make one
change,
switch to the witches. So I'm curious.
Very nice. Then primes you well for
mini
this
battle
for this for this change. Of course, they don't have huge amounts of fans, but there's quite a lot of positive reviews. They've been one of their singles has been featured on the German metal magazine called Metal Hammer. Of course, we're better to feature the Hexenhammer, if not in Metal Hammer. And they've got quite a lot of publicity. They were supposed to be on a tour, like pretty much everyone at this point. And maybe next year in August, they will make it all the way to the Sabaton Open Air Festival in Falun. Hopefully this will be the case. But again, this is a very young, up and coming and full of energy band that I will present in their latest incarnation on the song called Necronomicon. And it took me some time to figure out first how to pronounce it and second what it is. And just for anyone who's wondering what is it, it is
economics of necromancers.
Kind of, but not quite. It is a very literary reference to a author called Lovecraft, who is kind of the godfather of Gothic horror writing. He wrote in the early 1920 to 30, I think. And he doesn't have a full book, but it's a reference in one of his texts to Necronomicon, which it's a made-up word that has been known to be translated as the book of the names of the dead. And in his in literature, it's supposed to be a magic, a spell book, so to say, for witches. So that's the inspiration for this song. Again, they are very consistent with the witchcraft and witchy themes. So I think it transpires through every aspect, and probably best in this song, which probably is my favorite from their latest release, even though it was hard to pick one. I also liked the Lucid Nightmare. But in the end, Necronomicon, partly because of the name.
Okay.
And there's no video for this one, so we'll just listen.
Cool album art, though. And
check out the voice, see if you prefer Serena or Laura.
Spirits are lingering in darkness.
Spooky.
Spooky. So yes, this is a little bit heavier, a little bit more thrash oriented, but I love the drums. They're really...
Yeah, it seems like, at least from
Yeah.
the 3 songs I've heard, that it's definitely like heavy, repetitive riff throughout the song. That seems to be kind of with a nice shred session for the solo. And it seems that's kind of the pattern I observe.
Different rhythms though, so that's why
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to the whole album, like all these albums, because each song is separate. It's not this uniform, double bass, whatever. They are switching depending on the message of the.
Yeah.
And this is one of the heaviest in terms of the drum presence.
Yeah, definitely seems like it's good. Yeah, head banging.
Yeah.
Almost. I'm thinking about like the Sword-ish. Like
You can get into that groove.
But in a sense, I kind of wish they would go all in that way. Or it seems like they're kind of in between heavy, the vocals, but both singers kind of take a back seat, I think, to the guitar and the drums. And I'd like a little bit more screams.
Yeah, there you could probably find better screaming.
Of course, witches burning at the stake.
Yeah, I think the first song was that inspired most of those feelings, and that first release was also very good, more screamy. This is, I think, heavier and darker. Just like the themes are darker and spookier, and the witchcraft is getting more malignous.
Yeah, cool band overall, I think.
Yes, definitely. I really like it. I recommend you guys to listen to albums because they're not repetitive and they even are so old school as to have a ballad in the middle of the album. It's like 80s redivivus. This is kind of the spirit. But I think they're, inspired by the old school metal. They bring their own energy, and I really enjoy it. Actually, in between my selection of the songs and filming, and then probably the release, they managed to actually get a new guitarist. So the band is evolving, the band is growing. I'm sure we'll hear much good news from them also in the future. So let us know in the comments if you knew about this band before. I know it's a little bit more obscure, but I'm curious if you guys have heard of it. Maybe you've seen them live. How are they in concert? That'd be also cool to know. And of course, let us know if you have suggestions for further features.
Absolutely. But until next time.
Happy Halloween!